In a city weighed down by racial tensions and a history tarnished by police misconduct, the atmosphere hung heavy over the streets. Residents, both hopeful and cautious, carried the collective memory of injustices that had scarred their community. It was a city striving to heal, where the echoes of past conflicts lingered like distant thunder, serving as a constant reminder of the challenges ahead on the path toward reconciliation and unity. As the early morning sun cast a gentle glow over the city, Officer Ryan, a cop whose reputation was marred by allegations of racism, set out on his patrol. He cruised the streets with a watchful eye, seeking any opportunity to act on his biases. On this particular morning, his gaze landed on a young black woman driving an expensive car in a neighborhood where luxury vehicles were a rare sight. Without hesitation, Officer Ryan signaled to his colleague, Officer Lucas, patrolling nearby. Together, they followed the woman's car and pulled her over. The woman behind the wheel, Maya, was on her way to work. Today was her first day as the newly appointed police chief, but she had chosen not to wear her uniform, preferring to blend in with the community she was now tasked with protecting. Little did she know that her own officers had singled her out based on her skin color and the car she drove, revealing the deeply rooted issues still plaguing the city. As Officer Ryan approached the vehicle with an air of aggression, unaware of her true identity, he demanded that she step out of the car and even went so far as to handcuff her. His accusations were baseless, but his demeanor was filled with unwarranted authority. Officer Lucas, a principled and fair-minded cop, recognized the volatile nature of the situation. He decided to intervene. His voice was calm yet firm as he insisted that Maya had committed no crime and should be allowed to go free. However, Officer Ryan, driven by his prejudices, ignored Lucas's reasoning. He continued to search for any possible evidence, real or fabricated, to implicate Maya. Remaining composed despite the ordeal, Maya calmly asserted her innocence. Her voice carried a quiet strength, firmly grounded in the principles of justice and fairness. She explained that she had done nothing wrong, aiming to de-escalate the tension. This was a pivotal moment, where the integrity of the police force was being tested. Officer Ryan, growing increasingly frustrated by Lucas's intervention, grabbed his colleague by the collar. His threatening glare sent a clear message: stay out of his way. Their heated exchange escalated, voices clashing in anger as they argued behind the car. Still, Ryan stubbornly clung to his biased assumptions. Then, something caught Ryan's eye, a glint of gold. He froze as he realized it was a police badge. Confused, he questioned Maya about how she had obtained it. Her response came with unwavering clarity. "What do you mean? I'm Chief Maya Bennett, the new head of this department." Her words hit like a thunderclap. Ryan's face turned pale as the realization dawned. He had just racially profiled and handcuffed his new boss. A wave of embarrassment and regret washed over him. He hurriedly removed the handcuffs and stumbled over apologies, his voice trembling with remorse. Maya's response was firm, her voice tinged with disappointment and anger. "If I weren't the chief, is this how you would treat someone who's committed no offense?" Her question hung in the air, sharp and cutting. "How many innocent people have you done this to?" she demanded. Ryan stood frozen, unable to respond. Maya's words struck him with a weight he couldn't ignore. Turning to Officer Lucas, she said with a mix of gratitude and authority, "Thank you for standing up for what's right." Then, without another word, she got back into her car and drove away, leaving Ryan to face the consequences of his actions. As Maya left, Ryan turned to Lucas, his voice shaking. "Do you think she'll ever forgive me for this?" Lucas sighed and replied, "I don't know. But you'll need to apologize again, and mean it. You should head to the station and take responsibility for what you've done." When Ryan arrived at the station, he wasted no time heading to Maya's office. However, as soon as he entered, she sharply instructed him to leave. Her voice was icy but controlled, signaling that the matter wasn't over. It was clear that Ryan was now under investigation. Maya wasted no time launching a formal inquiry into Ryan's actions, involving the Internal Affairs Division to ensure an unbiased review. She understood the gravity of the incident and the importance of uncovering the full extent of the problem. This was more than just an individual failure. It was a systemic issue that needed to be addressed. Determined to enact meaningful change, Maya scheduled a meeting with the police chief to discuss her vision for reform within the department. During their discussion, she emphasized the importance of transparency, diversity training, and rooting out the entrenched biases that allowed incidents like this to occur. She vowed to reshape the department into one that truly served and protected all members of the community. Meanwhile, word of Ryan's misconduct spread quickly through the department. Conversations buzzed in hallways, and whispers turned into loud discussions. Many officers began reflecting on their own biases and the culture that had allowed such behavior to persist unchecked. The incident became a catalyst for a broader reckoning within the force. As the internal investigation progressed, disturbing revelations emerged. Ryan's actions during the incident with Maya were not an isolated event. A trail of complaints and grievances against him painted a damning picture of a history of racial discrimination and misconduct spanning years. Numerous cases of harm inflicted on Black individuals by Ryan's actions came to light, each one a testament to the systemic failures that had shielded him from accountability. The community was outraged. News of Ryan's troubling history spread beyond the department, igniting protests outside the police station. Residents gathered in droves, demanding justice and systemic reform. Their unified voices echoed through the streets, calling for accountability and a commitment to meaningful change. In response to the mounting pressure, Maya held a press conference. Standing before a crowd filled with anger and hope, she outlined her vision for a reformed police force. She promised transparency, accountability, and a renewed commitment to rebuilding trust with the community. Her words struck a chord, earning her widespread support. As part of her commitment to reform, Maya introduced new initiatives within the department. One such effort was a mentorship program designed to foster better relationships between officers and the communities they served. The program aimed to break down barriers, promote understanding, and rebuild trust, step by step. For Ryan, the repercussions of his actions were swift and severe. The department implemented disciplinary measures, including mandatory sensitivity and bias training. His future in the force was now uncertain, and he faced the daunting task of confronting his own prejudices. The journey toward redemption would not be easy. Ryan struggled internally, grappling with the reality of his behavior and its consequences. Each session of sensitivity training forced him to reflect on the harm he had caused, not just to Maya but to countless others. The process was grueling, but it was necessary. Slowly, he began to recognize the depth of his biases and the urgent need to change. In the weeks that followed, the city itself began to heal. The protests, though initially born of outrage, evolved into movements of hope and unity. Community leaders, activists, and the police department worked together to address long-standing issues. Programs promoting dialogue and collaboration flourished, fostering empathy and mutual respect. Racial tensions, once a festering wound, began to subside. The city moved closer to a future defined not by division but by understanding. The bond between the community and the police grew stronger, bolstered by Maya's tireless efforts to enact meaningful reform. For Maya, the progress was a source of pride and hope. Standing at the helm of this transformation, she felt a deep sense of responsibility but also optimism. She saw a brighter future for the city, one where justice, unity, and harmony prevailed.